All right, so um, good evening and welcome to our second day of our 7 days intensive masterclass. You're welcome. We still expect others to join so as to start together as a team, and hopefully, um, I want to believe that a lot is also going to be achieved today, just like yesterday. Yesterday, we were able to achieve a lot, and I also believe that today we'll also go home with something. It is our expectation, our earnest expectation that by the end of this 7 days intensive sight reading masterclass, participants should be able to see a piece of music, sight read, and play. Although sight reading takes a lot of um, discipline, a lot of consistency. I want to believe that after these 7 days, we would also try our best to achieve the set goal for this masterclass. So yesterday, for today, we would be looking at the values of notes. Notes value, and when I talk about notes value, I'm talking about the values of the kinds of notes I taught us yesterday. But before then, let's do a quick run over of what we did yesterday. We're going to use the next few minutes to do a quick run over of yesterday's class. Yesterday, we were able to establish that musical sounds are derived from the first 7 letters of the English alphabet, which are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now, we also established that these sounds are written upon what is called the staff, and that the staff comprises of 5 lines and 4 spaces. These 5 horizontal lines and 4 spaces are parallel to one another. That is to say that the 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 5 lines can never meet. That the 5 lines can never meet, no matter what. And after establishing that, we also went further to tell you the different type of staffs that we have, because the staff does not just end there. This is the staff, it remains a staff, but how do you know which part you are singing and which type of staff you are dealing with? And that brings us to the what is known as the clef. And we also said, we established that the clef is a symbol that tells you which type of staff you are dealing with, And we established also that we have basically three types of staff and clef, which are the treble clef, the bass clef, and the movable clef. The movable clef is just like a B. So these are the 3 types of staff that we have. Now, having known the 3 types of staff, we went on to establish and to know the lines and spaces of each of these staffs. Now we went further, we said we have the treble staff, which is also called your G staff, or you can call it a G clef. And that this symbol is called the clef. Now, what does a clef do? It tells you which type of staff you are really dealing with. And here we have the treble staff, the treble clef, the bass clef, and the movable clef. We went on to establish that the lines of the treble staff are E, G, B, D, and F. That is the 5 lines of the treble staff. And we move further with the space, which are A, F, A, C, and E. So with this, we went further to the bass clef, which we also listed the names of the lines and spaces of the bass clef. And we said the first line of the bass clef is your G, the second line is your B, third line is your D, the fourth line is your F, and the fifth line your A. And from here we were able to identify the spaces which between G and B your A is missing, so A is in the space. Between B and D your C is missing, so C is in the second space. Between D and F your E is missing, so that means we have E in the third space. And between F and A your G is missing. So that was what we did yesterday, and we went further to establish I think the kinds of notes. I went further to teach you the different kinds of notes that we have in music, and I want to really refresh your mind, because it's really necessary you know these things. So we went further to give you the different kinds of notes. This is the first kind of note that is currently in use, and we said it is called the whole note. Now we went to the second one, which is called your half notes. We went down further to the third one, which is called your quarter notes. And the fourth one, which is called your eighth notes. The fifth one, which is also called your 16th notes. And the seventh one, which is called your 32nd note. So with this, we were able to establish the different kinds of notes we have, and we went further to analyze and tell you the qualities of the notes. Here we can see a round note. Here we can see a round note with a stem. This straight line here is called a stem. And here also we can see a black note. So your quarter note is a black note with a stem. And here we have an eighth note with a stem and a hook. You can call it a hook, a flag, or a tail, whatever name you feel like. But the three names are correct. So we can call it a hook, a flag, or a tail. I also want to believe that others will join soon. We are just having 3 persons, but it doesn't mean we have to continue. We don't have to wait for anybody, because today I don't think we are going to spend that much time. So that was what we did yesterday. So today we are going further to establish and to teach you the value of these notes. It is from here you start sight reading. It is from knowing the notes which we've already known, and these notes are the notes that will be placed on the staff here. When placed on the staff, you are going to then realize on your own the values of each of the notes. What is the value of a note? The value refers to the duration or length of a musical note. So when I say the value of the note, I'm talking about the duration. Oh yeah. Oh, is it? Am I writing from left to right? It is opposite. Okay, okay. I think okay. So what you guys will do for me? I'm so sorry about that. That means I'm going to change the. I used my front camera, so you give me 1 minute to change it to the back camera, please. I'm sorry about that. Okay, thank you for that observation. Thank you so much. Um, I want to believe you're okay now. If you're okay now, please leave a thumbs up so I can know that you're okay and you can hear me, so I can continue the class. If you're okay, please type in. Mr. Happy, please type. Let me know that you're okay now. Okay, so like I was saying, we have the eighth notes, the half notes, your quarter notes, your 16th notes, and your whole notes. So today we are going to establish the different values of each of these notes. The values of each of these notes. And we also look at the symbol, the rest, and the duration. The symbol, the rest, and the duration. So now when you talk about value, just like I listed, when you mention value, you're talking about the length, the duration of the note in question. So let's say, for instance, we have A here. This is placed on the A. I want to believe it's okay now. All right, thank you. Okay, so this is placed on the A, and you have your A here. The next note, the value of this note is going to determine the length at which you would play that piece, that note. The length at which you are going to play that note. How long will you hold it? How long will you draw the song? That is what will determine. So, in a common time signature, because the duration, the reading, and the time signature goes in hand. In a common time signature, this is a 4 bits. This is a 4 bits. So in a common time signature, your semi-brief is 4 bits. Semi-brief. Don't forget, I used whole notes before, and I'm also using semi-brief here. So you can use whole note. Those of us that were in class yesterday, you can use either whole note or a semi-brief. In a common time signature, your semi-brief is 4 counts. In a common time signature. And one thing you have to know is that these notes, the one that precedes it, that is the one that comes before this one, the one that comes before this one is always half the value of the first one. So let's say, for instance, this is the first note, the longest note that is currently in use. And this is my semi-brief. If my semi-brief is 4, my minim is going to be 2 bits. That is, the minim is half the value of the semi-brief. So my minim is 2 beats. You can call it a minim or a whole or a half note. You can call this one a semi-brief or a whole note. I want to believe we are following. Now, if my minim is 2 beats, that means my crochet, which is my quarter notes, my crochet is going to be equal to 1 beat. So if my minim equals 2 beats, my crochet equals 1 beat. So if my crochet is 1 beat, my quiver equals half beats. And if my quiver equals half beat, this equals 1/4, quarter beats. So this is the longest. So if this has 4 beats, this is going to take 2 beats. I have a reason for telling you if this is, I am not laying down a principle that this is 4 beats. Why? Because it also depends on the key signature. When we go further in subsequent classes, you will know why this is not constantly 4 beats. But in a common time signature, this is 4 beats. And for a beginner, you start with the common time. You start with something that is common. When we were in school, they used to teach us you start with the known before you go to the unknown. So you start with things, even when you want to sight read. When I started sight reading, I started with songs I already know. By the time you start with songs you already know, you get used to it, and before you can move further to the unknown. So it is well established that you start with the known before you go to the unknown. So you see that these beats are common. So commonly, your semi-brief is always known as your 4 counts. So if semi-brief is 4 counts, this is half the value of the semi-brief. That is, your minim is half the value of the semi-brief. Your minim then takes 2 counts. So if I'm counting minim, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then if I'm counting semi-brief, 1, 2, 3, 4, my minim becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. That means you're counting it twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 minim to 1 semi-brief. Because half of the semi-brief is 2. So you are going to have 2 of these to 1 of these. And I want to believe we understand now. I want to believe we are following. Okay, so let me go further. So, just like I said, this is half the value of, this is half the value of this is half the value of this, and this is half the value of this. Why am I saying this is half the value of this? In some time signature, this may not be 1. This may not be 4. But as a beginner, let's start with this. Know that your semi-brief is 4 counts. And with this, I want to believe that you now know the value of your notes. So anytime you see a semi-brief, you should know that your semi-brief equals 4 counts. In a common time signature. In a common time signature, please. I know why I'm using the word common time signature. Now, your minim equals 2 counts. Your quiver, your crochet equals 1 count. And your quiver half and the 3/4, quarter, just like that. That is 1/4. So these are the values of the note. I can also give you another simple illustration of how this is done, and I'll give it to you with just 4 notes. By the end of today's class, please remind me to send the PDF we have this as a whole, and in place of this, we have two of these. We have this as your meaning. You can see this diagram now. We have a whole note here. We have this as your meaning. Here, under your meaning, we can then provide 4 crochets. So you can do this exercise on your own. Add other smaller notes. We have 4 crochets under it. You can now see that just one meaning has given us 4, and that is why this is called half note, because you can see that one of these had made 2 of these, and one of these also is making 2 of these. That means one of these is equal to 4 of these, and this is why this is called quarter note. So you can see here we have your semi-brief, which is 1 cant, and we also have one semi-brief is giving us 2 meaning. That is, one whole note is giving us 2 half notes, and one half note is giving us 2 quarter notes. 2 quarter notes is giving us also 1 quarter note is giving us also unquiver. Let me bring it down so we can get it very well. 1 quarter note is going to give us 1 quiver. So you can see here, we already have 4 quivers there. Sorry. The same thing is applicable here. So, so one of these will give me 2 of these as well. One of these, the space is not enough. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. So you can see what we have on the board. You can see that we now have 8 of these. And that is why the Americans call these 8 notes. Why is it called 8 notes? This is seen as a whole. The meaning, the whole note is seen as a whole. So this is seen as a half. And you know, anything that has to do with quarter has to do with 4. And this is seen as an 8 note. You can go further to get the 16th note and the 32nd note. But from this illustration, you can still go further. Place the 16th note is going to be half the value of your 8th note. And the 32nd note is half the value of your 16th note. And I want to believe we understand from that illustration. I want to believe we understand from that illustration. People are not turning up for class today. I want to believe they are not having network issues on the platform. Or should I? Let me share the link again. Please, 1 minute. Let me share the link again. Okay. Okay, I want to believe that we are good to go. I want to believe that we are good. We are good. We are good. We are good. All right. All right. So let's continue. Okay. After knowing this, when you see, anytime you see this meaning in a common time signature, I'll come to time signature. I've been mentioning time signature over and over again, but you have to know the value of the note before you go to the readings. All right, so this is it. These are the symbols you need to know, and these are the symbols you see on daily basis in your sheet music. Now, these are the values of the note. That takes us directly. We've done here now the value and the duration. We've done the value and the duration. Don't forget, I said this is your whole note and it takes 4 beats. And I said this is your half note and it takes 2 beats. We said this is your quarter note and it takes 1 beat. That is 1 count. You are going to count it 1. And this is your 8th note and it takes half. And this, and it takes 1/4. And this takes 1/8. Is that okay? This takes half, the other one takes 1/8. And you can't, it will be going down like that. Yeah, that is it. The other one will take 12 and then thereabout. Okay. Now that we've established the beat, this is 4. So when you are counting, if you see, let's say for instance, you have a song, "Oh God, our help in ages past," or let's sing the popular "When Peace with the Father." When peace with the Father. If you see a song like that, these notes are taking the values that I have stated so far. When you meet a semi-brief, which is your half note, know that your semi-brief is taking 2 counts. And just like I said, you start with songs you already know. If I were you, I'll pick my hymn book at this moment and I'll go through it and check. I'll check. Oh, and you sing the song and look at the notes. Sing the song, look at the notes. Sing the song, look at the notes. It is a very good way to start. When peace with the Father. When you pick that piece of music and you sing the note, you are singing the song, you check out the notes over there. You discover that, oh, these things are going accordingly before you go to the songs you don't know. So what I would advise is that you start with the songs you already know, songs that are familiar. You start with songs like "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," "Oh God, our help in ages past." You start with these songs. These are common songs and they are in common time signatures. Oh God, our help in ages. Oh God, our help. I think throughout that piece, we have more of your quarter notes. So you see more of the quarter notes. Now what you do is, this will also help you in sight reading. Sorry, my battery was flat last night and I couldn't give you the exercise, the assignment, but after today's class, I'll drop the assignment. So you're going to transcribe. For those of you that doesn't have, I'll download the PDF of a song and I'll ask you to realize the notes for me. Like this is an F because they are on treble clef. This is an F and this is an A. You should know that by heart now. You should know that your first line here, if a note, because basically you are not going to see your A placed on the staff. You will not see it. What you are going to see instead of the A is a note like this, that looks like this. Either a half note or a whole note or a quarter note or an 8th note, depending on the time signature and the value of notes that is in the piece of music. That is what you see. So I want to believe that we understand that now. So if a note is placed on in the second space of the treble staff, we already know that the second space of the treble staff is A. So automatically that note is A. If you are playing an instrument, you play the A, yeah? you are playing the correct thing. And yesterday, someone asked me, I made mention of your G3. I said this was G3. No, sorry, this is your G2, because we have another G here. It skipped my mind, but I'm really sorry about that. We have, this is your G2, and we have your G3 here and your G4. So if you are supposed to play, you first of all, when you pick a piece of music, let's say you are playing a piano, the first thing they teach you in a piano is the middle C, because it is from that middle C you differentiate between the left hand and the right hand. And by the way, sorry, I did not really introduce myself yesterday very well. For some of us that came late, I play the piano. I also play the violin and a part of the flute. So, but my major instrument is the piano. We'll come to that as we digress. So let's continue with our class. So if you pick a piece of music, the first thing you are supposed to be taught is just what we have done so far. Now that you know that my first line is an E, anywhere you see the E, you should know that this note is an E. But I'll let you know that later, because we have different E's. We have the E that is on the bass clef, and we also have the E that is in the fourth space of the treble clef. So how do you differentiate that? The octaves are different, so you have to know them. That is where the G3 and the G5 or whatever will also come in our lesson. Now we've been able to establish the beats, and I'll also give you an assignment. I'll also bring an exercise for us to know, and I want to move further now, because I don't want to really delay you. We've been able to establish the duration of the note. Now let's go to what is known as your rest, because the same way you sing this for 4 counts, you also have a rest for each of these notes. The same way you sing it for 4 counts, you also have what is known as the rest. What is the rest? Just like the notes are being played, rest indicates when to be silent. So just like we have these notes being played here, the rest indicates when to keep silence. That is what the rest is there for. For instance, we said this is 4 counts, that minimum has a value of 4, and there is a minimum rest. Sorry, there is no time signature yet, but let's use this. If you see something like this that is placed in a bar, this is the same thing as this. This is the rest sign. Now, don't forget that this is your whole note, and this is your whole note rests. So you can see from here, this rest now is placed under the line. This is my A, right? And it is 4 counts. That means I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you see a rest sign like this, it means I am going to keep silence for the same 4 counts. That is, I play the note that has a 4 count value. I'm also going to rest for 4 counts. So the rest sign is telling you, it indicates when to keep silence in a piece of music. For instance, you were playing, you're going, and you see a rest sign of under the line. Note that that rest sign is telling you that you're supposed to keep silence for the value of your semi-breve, or what is known as your whole note. Yesterday I gave you this name, so by now you should be used to it. We used to either I may use semi-brief, I may use whole notes. But we used to read. Your whole note is the same thing as your semi-brief. So the semi-brief rest is like this. It's just a black dash, like a dash, shaded dash under the line. Don't forget, it's under. If it is placed on top, this is on top of the line, but here now is under the line. Take notes. Because we have another that looks just like this, and if you are not smart, you will be confused. So this is under the line. Then the other one is on the line. Now take note. We have the one that is under the line, which is for your whole notes. Now the rest sign for your, I want to clean the board so I can give you the rest sign for the next notes. You know, just like we had the notes, I told you, you also have, just like we have the rest sign for each of these notes. The first one was your semi-brief, which is your whole note. The second one is your this is your half note. What is the rest sign for your half note? The rest sign of your half note looks almost the same like the rest sign for your whole note. And rest, don't forget I said, is when you keep silent. You see this thing in your music every day, but it is placed on the line. You can now see the difference. This is placed on the line, whereas the other one was placed under the line. Yeah. Okay, I can see your comment. Yeah. Some have done this before. Yeah, but we have to move from the basics. We have to start from the basics. We are moving further. Okay, so just like we have here already, you can see this is forecant and this is the rest sign for your half note. Now we will move further to the next note and we'll also give you the rest sign for the next note. The next note is supposed to be your quarter note. Sorry. The next note is supposed to be your quarter note. This is your quarter note. And the rest sign of your quarter note is like this. So this is how the rest sign of your quarter note is. So when you see, we said your quarter note takes one count. So at times you see a piece of music, you see this, and you see the notes again like this. This is telling you that you are supposed to rest because already, let's say we had 4/4 here. So that is telling you that there are supposed to be four beats in a bar. So what you do is you rest for one count, then you play the other 3 counts. So this is how the rest sign of your quarter note looks like. Some of my students used to call it a unicorn. I don't really know if it looks like unicorn, but that's what they used to call it. My students call it unicorn. It looks like unicorn. I've not seen a unicorn before. So this is the rest sign for your quarter note. Now the next note is your eighth note. Now, how does the rest sign of your eighth note look like? I want to believe we are following and we are taking note, please. How does the rest note of your eighth note looks like? It is just like this, something like this. It looks like a 7, but it has its origin here, so it looks like a 7. When placed like that, it is taking the value of your 8 notes. Now, your 16 notes would have 2 of these flags. That is for your 16 notes. And for your 32 notes should have 3 flags, right? The rest sign of your 32 note also has 3 of these. And with that, we are done with the rest sign. I want to believe we understand. If you don't get it, please drop your questions. Write down your questions now. I'll open the platform again tonight for you to drop them. Last night I opened the platform, but I did not really see any question from anywhere. So these are the rest sign of each of the notes. Now that takes us to something very important. Now we have been able to establish, today we'll be able to establish the kinds, the value of these notes, the value of the notes, then the beats, you can see them, the value, and also the rest sign. You've now known the rest sign of the different kinds of notes we have. Before I leave, let me quickly summarize that. So we have something that looks like a unicorn. Something that looks like a unicorn for your quarter notes. Then for your eighth notes, you have something like this as the rests. For your 16th notes, you also have something like this. For your 32nd notes, which is 3, your rest sign. And don't forget that we said that of the meaning has its rests under the line, and the that of the semi-brief has its rest under the line, and the meaning has its on the line. So you can see the difference here. This one is under the line and this one is on the line. Take note of that. That takes us to readings and the time signature. I want to believe you are following. Now it is all very important that you know these things from the very the basis, the fundamental, because as we progress, you see that your foundation is very important in everything you do, both in building, in anything you do. It is always very important for you to have a very good foundation, so that when you go further, you don't just stand there, stagger there. It is always very important that you build a very nice foundation for yourself. So let's go to what is known as the rhythms. That is, it is also called the heartbeat of music. I remember that now. It also called the heartbeat of music. It is also called the what? Heartbeat of music. So you already know those the building blocks. You know your clef. You know your lines. You know the notes, and you know the values of the notes. You've known almost everything now. It is now left for you now to know the rhythms. How are these things built? Rhythm is what gives music the movement and the groove. It is how we organize the sounds and the silence in the time signature I showed you. So how the sounds and the silence in the time signature I showed you are organized is the rhythm. It is what gives life to music. They say it is a heartbeat. You know what is a heartbeat? The day your heart stops beating, that is the day you stop breathing. And we say goodbye. So rhythm is the heartbeat of music. It is what gives life to music. Gives music the movement that is required. So you cannot talk about rhythm without understanding the time signature. First, you have to understand what is called time signature. We've been able to establish the staff. You've known what the staff is. You've known the 5 lines of this of the treble and bass staff. I've not taken you to the movable clef now because we'll digress into that a bit. Now let us understand what is called the time signature. You cannot go into the reading without understanding the time signature. You see, from the beginning of a piece of music, you always see something like this. 4/4. These are ways you sight read. By the time you understand, okay, this is my line. My lines are E, G, B, D, and F. The spaces are F, A, C, and E. Next thing you need to know, okay, the kind of notes. Or already we've established that. We've known the different kinds of notes now. So the next thing I would have to know is, what gives life to this music? It's the time signature. When we are done with the time signature, we'll quickly go into the key signature. And from there, we will continue our sight reading. It is from there you start sight reading. Already, with what you know now, already you can sight read. And that is just the truth. Okay, so let's move further. 4/4. Some of you have seen a piece of music. You see something like this. You see 4/4. You see 3/4. You see 6/8. You see 12 either 8. You see 2/2. And there's so many of them. 2 4 or 4/2, depending. You see these things on daily basis. These are called time signature. Everything, time understanding. So sorry about that. So sorry about that. How aren't they writing time signature? Okay. So you see 4/4, 3/4, 6/8, 9/8, depending. These are what gives life to the piece of music. So first, before we go into 4/4, 3/4, 6/8, and for you to understand them, we are going to understand the time signature first. Time signatures are this symbol that appears at the beginning of a piece of music, right after the clef. But not really right after the clef, because we have something that comes before the time signature, and that is called your key signature. Key signature. not right after the clef, because immediately after, when you see a piece of music, there are certain things you see first. You see the clef. When you are done seeing the clef, you see the key signature before the time signature. So time signature is very important because we want to go into the readings first. Before we go, we establish the key signature, which we are going to probably do that tomorrow. We will have to know the distance between notes and other things. That is where we start building skills. I think we are going to start building skills from tomorrow. So here now we have 4/4. We have to understand this 4/4 very well. So a time signature is that symbol, these numbers, these numeric numbers that tells you. These two tells us two very important things about readings. This thing tells us two very important things about readings. Now you can see that here we have here the 4 and another 4. Now these are two notes. We have the top one and the bottom one. You need to understand the top note and the bottom note. The top note tells us how many beats are in each bar. Now we are coming to new words. A word that you've not heard before. I've not mentioned this word before. This bar is not straight enough. I've not mentioned bar before. And you can now see that we are digressing, right? That means we are moving ahead day by day. Today is just day 2 and we are already talking about bars. So your top notes, don't forget this note tells us how many beats are in a bar, or you don't want to call it a bar, you call it in a measure. They are the same thing. So it tells you how many beats are in a measure. Now what is a measure? The distance from here to this bar line. This one top here is called your bar line. So the straight line across here is the bar line that divides the piece of music into equal portion. So your top number here is telling you how many beats is supposed to be in a bar. So this 4 now is telling me that I'm supposed to have 4 beats here, 4 beats here, and 4 beats here. I believe we are understanding. If you are really here with me, I want to see your thumbs up. Yeah, thumbs up. If you are here with us, please. Let me just see a thumb to show that someone is listening. Or am I talking to myself? Nobody is typing. Please type to let me know that you are with us. Oh, nobody is typing. I'm waiting. I can't see any thumb. It's okay. All right. I can see that now. All right. So like I was saying, this top note tells you how many beats are in a measure, whereas the lower note tells you which type of note gets 1 beat. So this one is telling you how many beats. This one is telling you the type of notes that gets what? 1 beat. So number of beats in a short form. In a short form, I used to tell my students this top note, number of beats, and this one, type of beats, or you can say kind of note, kind of beat. Any type and kind, they are the same thing. So type of beats and number of beats. So when you see a 4 on top here, they are telling you that there are 4 beats in each of these bars. This is your bar line. The distance from this place to this place is your bar or your measure. So from here to here is a bar. Or you can call it a measure. Then the straight line that divides the piece of music is called your bar line. And we also have here what you can already see here, your double bar line. What does your double bar line do? Your double bar line indicates the end of a song or a temporal stop if it's at the middle. So there are some pieces of music you can see a double bar line at the middle. It means you can temporarily stop there, or you can even end the song there. This double bar line is strong one, is telling you, oh, my song is ending here. This is the end of the piece. The end of a song. You see a double bar line. This bar line, when you see one bar line here, it's dividing the piece into equal portion. So I want to believe we understand that now. So let's go quickly to our common time signature. Our what? 4/4. This 4/4 is also known as, now we've established the what this means. It's not 4/4. It is called 4/4. We've been able to establish that this is the number of beats in a bar, and this is the type of beat in a bar. I want to believe you already understand that now. So let's go into the common time signature, which is the first time signature you are seeing on the board already. Your 4/4 time signature is the most common time signature in music, often represented by a large C symbol. It means that there are what? 4 beats in each measure, and that the quarter notes get 1 beat. Don't forget, while we were drawing our diagram here, I established that there are basically 3 types of key time signature that you always see in music. While we were drawing our notes here, we said this is 1, right? We said this is 1, and we said this is 2, right? Because 2 of these is equal to 1 of these. And we said this is 4. I really want you to understand. And we said this is 8, right? I know why I'm bringing this now. 3, 4, 8. So we have here 1, 2. 2 is going to make 1. 4 will make 1. 8 will make 1. Basically, we have these 3 notes that are basic fundamentals for you to know. You need to know them because we have a quarter note time signature, we have an 8 note time signature, and we also have a minim time signature. Don't forget when I explained the 4/4, I said the top note is for the number of beats in a bar, and the lower note is beats. So when you see a 4/4, the type of beats you should be thinking of is already your crotchets. Your crotchet is your quarter note. So you should also already be thinking of your quarter note, because the quarter note is the 4. We are saying quarter, quarter. That is, 4 of these will make one of these. And that is why it was established that your semibreve is equal to 1 cant. That is why it was established that your semibreve is equal to 1 cant. So we have here your quarter note. So the 4 below here, anything below 4 is always for telling you that your quarter note takes 1 cant. So if my quarter note is equal to 1 cant, that means this one is long in length. This one is longer than this one. So if this one is 1, this becomes 2, and this becomes what? 4. Don't be confused. This is taking 1 cant. That means automatically that anything that comes before it will take 2 cants. And what comes before this note is your minimum. That means your minimum is 2. And that was what we established on the board. We said this is a 4 cant, right? And we said this is 2 cant. And we said this is 1 cant. It was based on the common time signature, which is also represented by a large C. Some of us, when you see C like this, I have seen somebody that when you see C, he say the key is in key C. The song is in the key of C. No. This C represents 4/4. So if you don't see 4/4 and you see a C that is placed after the key signature of a piece of music, know that they are telling you that the time signature of the song is in 4/4. So that is it. And yeah, I can see. So that is it. So your 4/4 here is telling you that there are 4 quarter notes in a bar. That is to say, it must not be. That is to say that we have 4 beats in a bar. And note, it's not necessary that you must always have 4 of these in a bar. These are your quarter notes, right? It's not necessary I must always have 4 quarter notes in a bar. But I must have something that is equivalent to 4 in each of the bars. I must have something that is equivalent to 4 beats in each bar. So it is not necessary I must have 4 quarter notes. Right. So if I have this is equivalent to 4. This is 2 plus 2, making it what? 4. So what we have here is the same thing as what we have here, but the note value is different because this is counting 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is what we have here. Here we also have 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you seeing the difference now? Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can also have this, which is also equivalent to what we have in other bars. And we have here 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple. Are we following? Yeah, I want to believe that you're with me. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4. In the next bar, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Because already we established that your minimum is 2 cants. Your minimum takes 2 cants, and that is it. You've gotten it. And let me tell you, with what we've done from yesterday to today, I don't see anything that will stop you from sight reading. if you are really disciplined and you know what we are doing and you're following us judiciously. So let's count the beats here. We have here one. You know, we said we have four beats in a bar. So we said we have 4 beats in a bar. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The same thing here. So these two notes now is taking 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. This one alone is taking 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 beats in a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget that what is taking one count is your quarter notes. So your quarter notes takes one count. And that is it for your common time signature. And I want to believe that we understand. I want to believe that we understand, and you let me also lay down this principle for you, or let me tell you, let me make it a bit understanding. It is not necessary that because we said it is 4/4, everything you'll be seeing in this key signature is 4/4 beats in music. Then there is no life in the music. Don't forget we say rhythms are what brings life and movement to a piece of music. So let's say for instance you have a piece of music and throughout that music you have throughout that piece of music you are having something like this. Because we said it's in 4/4 time signature. So you have something like this. Does it really make any sense? It doesn't. So what brings life is the changing of notes. What brings life to your music is changing of notes. So you may have, at times, you may have 2 of these. At times, in a song that is in 4/4, you may barely see this. You barely see the quarter note, the type of notes that you're singing in that song. You barely see it. So they change it. For instance, I may have something like this, pam, then something like this. This is a quiver. We've not gone to beams, but I also teach you what a beam is. So now that this has been changed, I can also change this head to your meaning. Now you know I already have 4 counts in this. I have pam, 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 pam. 4 counts in it. We can as well change this to something different. So we can do this, and we do this. It's the same thing. You can see we've already given the music life already. We can do this and do this. Now it looks like music. Pam 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 pam. So you have ta 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 ta. So you have 4 counts in each of the bar. Ta 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 ta. So that is it. So I think because of our time has been well spent, I don't want to spend more than an hour, just like I promised. And we would be ending the class here for today, and we'll continue with the wax time signature and other by tomorrow we'll do some exercise on the time signature, recognizing notes and the different note durations. After that we go to our key signature. So far so good. We've been able to do something for ourselves tonight. And don't forget, this class is a very free class, entirely free. And I have given myself to this, to always, um, my definition of success is not the amount of money I have in my bank account, but it's always my ability, who I am able to put smile on his or her face. How many persons have been able to at least make happy? So I know that there are a lot of persons out there that does not really have access to teachers and wish to understand um, the readings, they wish to sight read, let me just use that word, but they don't have access to teachers. And that is why I've given myself to teach you for free. And I would really be happy if you can continue in this tale. If you, after these 7 days, you should be buoyant enough to say, okay, I can sight read, I can see a piece of music and interpret it to those that doesn't really know. And when you know as well, share it with others, and the world will be a very better place for us. I knew it, and I can tell you that I've shared it with thousands of people. And I don't want to keep it within my vicinity. That is why I'm bringing it up now live online, since the world has really given us chance to teach whoever we want to teach from wherever we are. So I want us to really take it serious so that tomorrow you can teach others. I used to tell my students, when they tell me, oh, thank you for what you have done, I say, okay, let's give thanks to God. But next thing is, I want to see who you have been able to train as well, that can really do the same way you are doing. So for now, let me just say good night to us. I'll be opening the platform. I'll be opening that group again for your questions. If you have any questions, anything that is disturbing you, and I'll also drop an exercise tonight, and I expect you to do it and submit it to me before our lessons tomorrow. Please ensure you do that. Last night I was unable to do that because my phone went off. I'm really sorry about that. You know, I'm using my phone for this live streaming, and sometimes you finish and you discover the phone is not on, and before you could charge already, maybe it will be time for you to sleep. So this is me saying bye bye. Bye bye. See you all tomorrow.